What weird things happen during sex that nobody warns you about? When you accidentally pull out too far and almost snap your big dig in half with the next thrust. When you try to be sexy and pull out and go back in over and over, but all you're doing is making her queef. Curious pets investigating. As a guy, trying not to come often feels like those mini games where you have to keep a needle in the middle of a green zone while different factors try to push it left or right. You think you're about to finish? Better start counting prime numbers in your head to distract yourself. Nope. Got too distracted and now your erection is starting to go away. Now thrust harder to compensate and you now inexplicably feel like you're going to orgasm while having only a semi-erect pen 15. Then to top it all off, sometimes you stop just a millisecond too late and you get this pathetic 5% orgasm where you feel virtually nothing. Don't actually come. But your big dick has decided that the show is over and retreats for winter. Then you have to try to explain what just happened to some poor girl who thinks she did something to instantaneously heal your erection without any hope of it returning. Sometimes you can't finish. Applies to both sexes. Not always a bad thing, as I know it can knock your pride. Weird. But something you work around. Most assume you're going to finish overly dramatically like in porn. Or at least that's what my friends and I thought. Hip cramps. Basically when your legs are spread too wide for too long and your hip flexor becomes a traitor requiring your leg to be straight or you'll be in too much pain for enjoyment. Even worse when it's both of your hip flexors cramping at the same time. Edit. Spelling. Edit 2. Never thought me admitting to getting hip cramps during sex would result in gold twice in addition to being my most liked comment. Thanks Reddit. Water is not a lubricant. The amount of stamina required and the significant value of general fitness. If someone had told me in school that gym class was mainly going to aid you in sexual contexts, I would have made a much greater effort. Just when she's getting close, my tongue cramps up. When you're so close together that you're now basically stuck together with sweat and having to pull yourself apart after. So I dated this girl in college for a bit. I was surprised to see her butthole dilate to the size of a dime. Never seen that before or since in any other partner. Sometimes I wonder if I imagined it. Edit. Wow. So that blew up. To answer questions, my surprise came from the fact that I hadn't touched her asshole. It just gaped open all on its own. It stayed that way until she orgasmed, at which point it slammed shut with her orgasmic contractions. No. She didn't fart poop. No. I did not put it in her butt at that point. I know. I probably should have. I was young and relatively inexperienced. We did butt stuff eventually though, and I can confirm she was definitely into it. We didn't date very long though. She was cray. All the best ones are, it seems. You can be sexually incompatible with someone. They might want the deep slow romantic shit you see in movies. And you might want filthy degrading dirty talk. And you might be turned off doing what they like most. And vice versa. Also the leg cramps. Your big dig occasionally slips out. When you try out a new position and it really doesn't work. And you kind of just have to be like it. Next. A latex allergy makes things interesting for me. I have to always prepare and bring latex-free condoms if sex will be a possibility. It's a little awkward when a guy goes for a condom and I have to give him the briefing on what's up and go for mine instead. And you can't really predict if it's a good fit for him. Fun stuff. Something happens that you didn't necessarily want or plan for, then you realize you kind of like that. Kinks almost happen by accident. Edit. Thanks for the silver and gold, you kinky ducks. You realize your cat likes to watch flopping and slapping noises as your bodies meet. The noises. Nobody warns you about how disappointing shower sex can be. One person is always cold. Water is a terrible lubricant. It can be really cramped and uncomfortable. It's super easy to slip and hurt yourself. A lot better to just have sex and then shower together afterwards. policeman will sometimes rudely interrupt you by knocking on the car window. I'm a woman with long hair and poor eyesight, so I always have to plait my hair back, learned that early on. And if I want to see anything I have to have my contacts in. When people said you had to prepare for sex, this was not what I had in mind. Your hand cramps up or your elbow starts hurting. Well, if you have a cold and you are on top, it may happen that snot dribbles out onto your beloved, and this may or may not make you laugh. If your significant other is lactating, the oxytocin from sex can cause milk to squirt on you. Sometimes, hypothetically, the girl could be on top riding and you could wind up for a playful slap on the ears and accidentally slap yourself directly in the gonads, causing great pain for one party and uproarious laughter for the other, pretty much derailing the whole thing. I wouldn't know anything about this, but it happened to a friend of mine. Sometimes, even if a woman is really turned on, she doesn't get wet. Eater, thank you for the gold. Sheets come off. Mattresses slide. Blankets start to bunch up no matter how flat they lied. Pillows nowhere near the two of you will get launched. Things on the headboard are gonna fall over, just watch. Six will turn a bed that is perfectly made into one that just hosted a slumber party, with a big sweat spot down the middle. Some people are absolutely amazing. Sexy, wonderful people, but you just don't enjoy sex with each other. Sometimes it's libido differences and sometimes it's just certain things don't do it for you. I dated someone who had a high sex drive like me, but she loved teasing. I don't mind it sparingly, but literally every time she'd deliberately stop before I was finished as she got off on me being frustrated and wanting her more. Something like that just won't work out if you don't also enjoy that. But for her, normal sex didn't do it for her, so even though we had great chemistry, we would never see eye to eye in the bedroom. Some people can't do two physical things at once, so they might be able to kiss, but once having sex they're bashing teeth, sticking tongue out too far, rotating the head the wrong way. Just wrong. It's like they can't coordinate two types of bodily movement at once. Always wash after eating hot wings. Fingers and face. Edit. Damn Silver. Thanks. I'll pass it on to the wife. She's the one that deserves it. My mouth dries up to the point when I swallow it sticks and I choke and have to stop and get a drink. I guess from heavy breathing, moaning and panting. Or getting so wound up from him I almost pass out. Blurry vision afterwards. Long sex does not necessarily mean good sex. For one, the girl can get sore, especially if the guy's big. It can also get boring if it goes on too long. It's all about finding the sweet spot. Timing wise, I think it's been knocked into the heads of too many guys that the ideal is lasting 4 hours. For some women, I'm sure they love that. Others, not so much. Your mind wanders. Like, you'll be trying to enjoy what's going on and you'll know damn well that you have been wanting this to happen for a while. And you'll still have random one-off thoughts. It can take some self-discipline to stay in the moment, especially since not everything you're doing is necessarily what's best for you. How wildly varied orgasms and time can be. Sometimes you can be extremely turned on, go for a long and dribble at the end. Other times you're extremely turned on, fire off fast, and it's like you've got a hose. You've got those second rounds that fire off harder than the first. It just varies so damn much. For the ladies, it is just wet afterwards. Things drool out of you for the rest of the day, even if it isn't ejaculate. Edit. Oh my. Thank you so much for the upvotes and popping my gold cherry. Kinda weird that my best comment on this site is about pussy soup, but yeah. Thank you so much. Kind stranger. Her legs might start vibrating at an alarming rate. I thought she was having a seizure and panicked, but don't be dumb like me. Apparently some girls do that when they're about to orgasm. The falling asleep afterwards thing. When her in the front seat and her ass keeps honking the horn. When you could go all night, but she thinks you're about to come and says don't come yet, but just hearing that makes you come. The apology later is the weird part. Anal means poop. If when it happens and you see shit on your big dig for the first time, don't freak out and handle it maturely. You should never make your partner uncomfortable like that. A stealthy wipe with a wet towel and back at it, without drawing any attention to what happened. Also, some girls can cry during sex. It's nothing to be overly alarmed about. But you should obviously stop to check if they're well. They probably are and just got a bit overloaded or overstimulated. Again, don't freak out. Finally, when you go down for oral, a stray pube will get in your mouth and then lodge itself in your throat and stay there for like half an hour. It sucks. There's nothing you can do. Queefs. Curious pets. Spontaneous genital malfunction. All genders. The dreaded taint smash. Muscle cramps. Falling out of rhythm. Flesh farts. When two particularly well-fitting sweaty areas match up and there's a little air in between, and it escapes. Real farts. Short and accidental MMA matches. I've taken an elbow to the eye socket. And the sentence "I don't bend that way." That's all I can think of off the top of my head. Edit. Thanks for the gold and silver. Kind strangers. Boob farts. You're not always gonna have sex with someone right out of the shower. Sometimes it's in the moment and it doesn't always smell, let's say, awesome.